Henry the Navigator was born in 1394 in the city of Porto. Henry the Navigator was brought up in royalty and raised by King John I of Portugal and Philippa of Lancaster. When he was 21, he went on a raid on the Muslim port city of Ceuta. He was then inspired to start a school of navigation so he could discover more of the coast of Africa. He first started the School of Navigation, where he taught sailors science, navigational skills, ship skills, techniques, map-making, data recording, and he also funded most of the trips on the West African coast. In 1444, Henry returned to Segres and launched an expedition to explore the West African coast with Nuno Tristão as captain. Antão Conclaves, who was a hunter, not an explorer, accompanied him. His duties were to hunt the Mediterranean monk seal that were found on the west coast of Africa. Conclaves filled his small boat with sealskins, then he and 9 of his crewmen captured some Africans to take back to Portugal. When Tristão arrived in the same area as Conclaves, the two crews joined together and kidnapped 10 Africans. Conclaves headed back to Portugal with his catch, while Tristão went southward. A few years after that, Prince Henry built a fort at the Bay of Agrium, and the bay became the center of the slave trade. By 1443, a royal decree granted Prince Henry the sole right to send vessels south of Cape Boador, as well as to receive 1/5 of all profits from the area. Henry became extremely overwhelmed with merchants wanting to license for voyages to the Guinea coast, so they too could make profits from the slave trade. Although he did not map the entire West African coast as he had hoped to do, or find the legendary kingdom of Prester John, he did give the world half the map that it needed. Henry the Navigator died on the 13th of November 1460 at the age of 66 in Sagres in the kingdom of Algarve in Portugal. There were many results of Henry the Navigator's explorations of the West African coast, inspired many other explorers to go venture beyond what Henry discovered, including one sailor named Vasco da Gama became the first European sailor to reach India by sea. Henry the Navigator deserves to be in the Explorer Hall of Fame because he was an explorer of many firsts. He was the first explorer to go far down the African coast. He was the first explorer to map the African coast, as most Portuguese would. And he's inspired many other explorers in the future to explore further down the African coast.